So thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule. I know it's a busy time of year for everyone, and we really appreciate you spending some time with us and learning more about the Ralph C. Wilson Jr. Foundation Funds here at the Community Foundation for Greater Buffalo. My name is Bridget Doherty, and I am a consultant here with the Community Foundation, managing this grant process. Before we go around, I'm going to ask you to give us your name and the organization that you're representing, just a few logistics, and then I'm going to ask the Community Foundation staff to introduce themselves. Bathrooms are out the door and to the right. They're available. I think everyone has signed in. If you haven't, if you could sign in, we'd appreciate it so we can just track how many people attended each session. There's some water and some snacks in the back. I know it's starting to get low blood sugar time, so feel free to, whenever this is used for, but chuck to let it out activity. So feel free to grab something. Also, this session and all 4 sessions are being taped. They will be available on our website early next week. The first 20 minutes or so are the same in each session, and we just didn't, if you were here for Design and Access, didn't think it was necessarily good use of your time to listen to youth sports for 20 or 30 minutes, but there is some similarity to both sessions. So feel free to tell your colleagues that it will be available online. So with that, I'm going to ask the Community Foundation staff to introduce themselves.
I'm Betsy Constantine. I'm Vice President at the Community Foundation, and I am the Relationship Manager for the Wilson Foundation Fund.
I'm Laura Schwamborn. I'm the Giving Strategies Assistant here. I handle all general kind of information or questions you may have.
I'm Karen Mattiliano, Vice President for Community Impact here at the Foundation.
Great. So with that, can I ask you to introduce yourself and what organization you're with?
I'm Joni Kahn, and I'm with the 21st Century Park on the Outer Harbor.
Nicole Madison, also with 21st Century Park.
Bill Even, Chestnut Ridge Conservancy.
Karen Kevin, Representative Alliance.
Great. Jill Jefferson, Buffalo Niagara Riverkeeper.
Mike Green, City of Buffalo.
Excellent.
Jim Sarah from Central Terminal Restoration Corporation.
Susan Herrnstein, Open Space Institute.
Lauren Penman, Open Space Institute.
Rebecca Newberry, Clean Air Coalition. Monique Watts, the Nature Conservancy.
J.G. Rose Burney, the Western New York Land Conservancy.
Justin Booth, Go White Buffalo.
Leslie Disbrow, New Directions, Youth and Family Services.
Mike Benson, Western New York Environmental Alliance.
Sarah Schultz, Sierra Club Niagara.
Krista Talgett, Banner Park Montessori School. Vicki Hawes, Erie County Environment and Planning.
Great. Well, welcome. So for about the next 40 or so minutes, our agenda is I'm going to give you a little bit of history of the Ralph C. Wilson Foundation Junior Endowed Fund here at the Foundation. We'll talk about the objectives and other grant requirements specifically for Design and Access, which is why you're here, the timeline, some basics around the LOI process, decision criteria, and we'll leave about 20 to 30 minutes for questions. So the Ralph C. Wilson Jr. Foundation excuse me, established endowment funds at the Community Foundation for Greater Buffalo to provide permanent source of funding for programs and initiatives that reflect the personal passions of Mr. Wilson. Endowment funds are designed to grow over time. In order to ensure that they are perpetual, the principal of the funds will not be touched. So in each year, a portion of the earnings of those funds will be distributed. This is the second year that we've distributed funds, and our intent is to distribute funds every year in perpetuity. This year we'll be distributing a total of $800,000 in funds, and in community or Design and Access, $250,000 will be distributed this year. The grants made from the Field of Interest funds held here at the Community Foundation are distinct from the grants at the Ralph C. Wilson Foundation. We get asked this question often. I think there's some confusion in the marketplace and with consumers. And so I'll tell you a little bit about how we in the Wilson Foundation view those two processes. In most cases, the grants made from these funds here at the Community Foundation serve to support very localized projects across the Western New York region. And this is the key piece in our mind, for which a smaller grant can make all the difference. And in some cases, it may also provide an opportunity to test out ideas and programs on a smaller pilot level. All organizations and agencies can apply, even if you have an outstanding grant with the Community Foundation for Greater Buffalo, or you were a recipient last year of endowed funds here through the Wilson Foundation. I'm going to just tell you a little bit about the 4 funds, just to give you the overall goal so you get a sense of the scope of the endowed funds here at the Wilson Foundation Endowed Funds, and then I'm going to hand it off to Kara to talk more specifically about design and access. So the goal of the Caregiving Fund is to improve the support of caregivers, whether paid or voluntary, through efforts that provide needed skills, resources, education, and respite. Caregivers are those who look after dependent individuals, such as children with special needs, disabled adults, older adults who require caregiving. Projects supported through this fund should have a direct impact on caregivers. Community assets. The goal of this fund is to support significant cultural and historic assets and increase access to long-term arts instruction for youth, and this is only in Erie County, not the 8 counties. Design and access, what you're all interested in today. 2017 will be the inaugural year for distribution. The goal is to increase the health and quality of life of Western New York residents of all ages by enhancing outdoor activities within the region. And this fund will give preference, it certainly won't exclude those that don't take part in this, but will give preference to projects that incorporate green design and universal access design. And finally, youth sports. The goal is to increase access and affordability of all forms of physical activity for youth through organized or casual play with the aim of expressing or improving physical fitness and mental well-being. And with that, I'm going to hand it off to Kara. Okay. Thank you. Forward. Forward?
Oh, I'm notorious with that. I'm so excited that we have these funds this year for the very first time. Hopefully this is going to enable us to make some grants that will be really important to this community that the foundation has not been able to do in the past. So I'm super excited. And so what are you able to apply for in design and access? What you're able to apply for is support for pre-planning, development, or construction costs. And it's all projects related to access to the outdoors, increasing walkability, bikeability, improving waterways, greenways, recreation corridors. That keep in mind that access part is human access to outdoors and being able to enjoy the outdoors and have a healthy lifestyle outdoors. The other piece of this that you might want to really focus on is that it's not programmed. So paying for an ongoing program is not going to be a part of this particular opportunity. It is a preference, but not required, that, as Bridget mentioned, that incorporates green design for environmental sustainability, and that it incorporates universal design to serve people of all abilities. That's a preference, but not a requirement. So how will this process work? If you've been a grantee or a candidate for Community Foundation funds in the past, which is not unlike those processes that we run. So the Design and Access Fund is a one-time grant. It's not a multi-year grant. It is up to $50,000. Keep in mind we have $250,000 available in this fund, and you can apply for up to $50,000. It is intended to be capital. It can be in any of the 8 counties of Western New York. 501c3 organizations only, so government entities are not able to apply. However, government entities who are working with a not-for-profit might be able to apply together as a partnership. Large sports facilities are not part of this opportunity. We're not looking to better football fields or anything like that. And playgrounds only if they utilize universal design and are a connection in recreation from one place to another. So again, this is really about access, it's about connectivity, it's not about creating playgrounds or football fields. And so the timeline, I'm just like totally ignoring this, and I just totally goofed it out as I said I would. Yeah, there we go. So the letters of intent process opens January 3rd, when we are all back from our fabulous holidays. And the deadline is the 20th at 4 p.m. Letter of intent, super simple. Do not stress over the letter of intent. Be focused and thoughtful, but do not stress because it's very short. February 15th, we will be notifying organizations that they will be invited to submit a full application. You'll only go forward if you get an invitation. And the deadline for application of those full applications is 4 o'clock on March 15th. And then by May, we'll let you know that you have that in order to not lose. And then beginning May 31st, grants will be dispersed, and that will be the time when your year begins. And then 1 year after the project completion, there will be a grant report due. The letter of intent, organizations please, 1 letter of intent per funding category, so 1 for design and access. It's really, I know many of you have a plethora of fabulous ideas. Pick your best one and apply for that one. And because it's unlikely that we would, you'll be competing against yourself, basically. And I would say apply for the project that is the highest priority of your organization within this scope, within that $50,000 scope. All letters of intent are submitted electronically through Foundan. There's you can see the link there, and you'll be able to see that on our website. Again, it's a simple process. Just please create an account if you are new to the foundation. Most of you probably already have one. Darren Knoyer is the contact person who runs Foundan, so Darren is, don't be afraid to call Darren and ask him a question about how it works. Everything saves automatically, so you don't have to worry about that. And do please, I know it's so annoying, but please pay attention to the character count because it does count characters, and then it cuts you off. So that is the part of this as well. The letter of intent questions are fairly basic. Again, if you participated in our process before, it's pretty, they're very similar. What's the name of your program? How much do you want? Which of these funds are you interested in applying to? In this case, design and access. What does your organization do? What, in one sentence, are you looking to do with this grant? There'll be a short program description, a target audience. I'm going to take a moment just to talk a little bit about the target audience and the number served. So to the degree that you can be specific about a target audience, that would be super helpful. Now, some of these projects, especially in design and access, is intended to provide access to a lot of people. So just be careful, I would say, about how you say that. If you have a specific number of people, please use it. I think, saying 7 million visitors is probably not helpful. So try to be as realistic as you possibly can in that. Who's going to benefit how and how many? And again, the goals and objectives, short and long-term outcomes, and then if there's something that's going to be happening on an operating rhythm, please describe that as applicable. In this case, it might not be as applicable in some of the other situations. And then how will this advance the objectives of the Wilson Fund in terms of providing access to people to the outdoors for their health? So how will we make decisions on these? We will review them in accordance with the goals and objectives for each of these funds. And I wish it were all so easy. So what we'll be looking at in terms of the full application is the need that you'll be serving, what gap does that fill, the readiness of the project. Are you ready to go, or is this a project that feels like a year down the line or so? How are you going to measure the impact and outcome? This is going to be maybe a little tougher in this design and access. Can you somehow count the number of people, or how this is going to provide access so that we have to add before? How is this going to be sustained? And this could also be a tricky question for design and access because it's a capital project. So how are you going to sustain, maintain? What's the plan for maintaining that area or access or trail or bikeway or whatever it is in the future? And the ability of the organization. So how do you understand your work? How do you change and evolve? and that's an emblem of your capacity as an organization. So if you have any questions about applying to Design and Access, you can contact me. We have no idea how many people are going to be asking questions. So you can contact me through Laura's email, or many of you are just going to email me, I know that. so you might as well just email me. So, but if you have general information, Laura is the one who will be able to answer your questions. Again, I think this is really exciting to be able to have this opportunity for these funds in Western New York. It is unique, and these funds are just going to grow, so this is just the beginning. Does anybody have any questions?
And I'm sorry, before you go to that, I just want to add one clarification, sorry, I think this is a last minute change. So this is capital and program. Oh, sorry. Sorry, broader.
All right. Well, that changes things significantly.
So now I have a question for Betsy. What's the split? Can it be solely programs, or does it have to be both?
That'll be the call of the reviewers. I think, the intent is as Kara has explained, to provide access. And so, but understanding at this point they want to be as broad as they can in getting a sense of what's out there to advance that. It may end up being that it all gets capital, or it all, I don't know, but I think that part of what they want to do at this point is be as open as possible. And so that was the intent there.
Well, that's special. That actually, though, it really allows you all a lot more flexibility than just having it be capital.
Mm-hmm.
A really good refinement.
So in the total pot is still 250.
Everything is exactly the same. That was just one, we just clarified, and that's where we are with that. Be broad.
And just as a point of clarification too, we work as a team to make decisions, make recommendations, I should say. The decisions are made at the Wilson Foundation trustee level, so final decisions, and they are in a learning mode, as you know, just like we are at the foundation. This is a new space for us at the Community Foundation. We've done lots of work. Kara in particular has led a lot of this work, but Design and Access, as we've codified it here, is a different framework, and so the Wilson Foundation is looking to learn from these grants, and it will help inform their decision-making going forward, and vice versa.
And in that regard, whether you get a grant or not, it's a tremendous opportunity to be able to communicate what it is you do and how important it is, not only to the foundation, but to the Wilson Foundation, because we're going to report to them about the grants that we receive. So it's really a great opportunity all the way around.
It says 8 counties. Is there any geographic priority, just because that's a very large area for 250,000?
Well, yes, it is a very large area for 250,000. Just to be curious, how many people here represent Erie or Niagara County? Almost everybody. And then open space?
Wyoming.
Wyoming. And beyond. Yeah. Anybody else?
Well, we do all 8.
Well, yeah. We do. So,
And our Niagara group is 7 counties.
Oh, actually, it is 2.
So, generally speaking, most of the people here do represent Erie and Niagara, but we're going to be geographically appropriate as we can, and it's competitive, so it's, depending on the program as well. So, yes.
Is it all or nothing? If you request 30,000, can we consider giving us 10,000, for example, or?
Possible.
Okay, so it's.
And we may come back and ask you a question, could you do this for partial? It's possible.
If you kind of border between 2 different categories, would you apply for both? And then you would come back and let us know which one we fit in more under?
We should have a conversation, a separate conversation about that, so you can put your efforts into one. I hate to have to make you do twice the work for really one opportunity, so we should talk about what it is that you'd like to do and try to determine that up front, just to keep you from doing
Any benefit to year-round projects versus summer or winter only?
I think they're going to stand on their merit, because they're clearly, especially in the space, it's very new. There's a lot of need, in my opinion. There's a lot of need in this space that has not been has not been addressed in the past, and so I think they're going to stand on their own depending on what the actual need is.
Questions about so applying for, only one grant per category per organization. So the Land Conservancy, we have our own priorities for this. But the Groundwork Buffalo asked if they run a youth, it's a very specific question. They run a youth program. They thought it'd be great to do like a design build trail thing on one of our preserves. And so they were thinking that might be an application they applied for. And money would go to them. It's their project. Would that be a conflict? No. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody else? Any other questions?
Just to clarify, can multiple organizations apply for a grant, a collaboration, or something like that?
Sure. Someone's going to have to be the fiscal agent in the end, but yeah, collaboration is always welcome as a community foundation.
Can capital funds be used for purchase of property?
That's interesting. Perhaps. Again, we've never done this before, so we would have to, review it in the context of everything.
And I would just say again, this is this goes up to $50,000.
Yeah.
So we want to make it relative.
I'm buying cheap stuff.
If it's a $100,000 purchase price, I think that would be very relevant.
We could hear the question back here.
Oh, I'm sorry. She asked, could you purchase property? And the answer is yes, if it's cheap.
Everything's getting expensive.
The intent is to make an impact with this grant, which gives you flexibility to try things but.
And just to give you some numbers from last year, we funded through 3 funds. There were 130 LOIs, 24 were invited to complete applications, and 19 applications were funded.
In this category?
No, in 3 total. This is a brand new one.
Brand new.
Yep.
Got it.
Jill, is there the decision criteria? How about do you look for leverage or matching or not even a consideration?
So it's not a part of the official criteria. Obviously, being able to create more of an impact, but impact is, and so being able to create more of an impact, and if leveraging does that, then that's also helpful.
And then is the follow-up to that, is there any relationship at all to the openness or for the Wilson Foundation, the general application to the Wilson Foundation? Like, what is the relationship here, if any? Is it completely separate? Is it communicative?
So it's separate. It is a separate process. These are funds that are at the Community Foundation, and they will grow with this community forever. The Wilson Fund, so Big Wilson, has its own process, and I would encourage you to apply to that process with a project that's probably maybe at a different scale than this one, and use your judgment about that. But they are separate processes. Yes, our recommendations do go to Wilson, so in that way they are connected, and obviously these are Wilson funds, but there is a line between.
And it doesn't necessarily hurt or help.
Okay.
Is there another question?
No, we're good.
You guys? Anybody else? Any other questions? We just want to make it easy for everybody. We want to make this easy for everybody, and as easy, painless, and as efficient a process.
Kara, I remembered my question. Do you have letters of intent or applications from successful grants available online that we can peek through?
Not for this category, because this is the first time we've ever done this, and I don't know that we have those anyway. They're real simple. When you see the format, you'll see how simple they are. I think the questions are pretty straightforward.
Thank you.
The only other thing I just wanted to add is just to clarify. So Kara has listed Laura's email as the contact, and there's a reason for that, which is that it will help make sure Laura will just filter them and make sure that they get in front of Kara. Kara has a lot happening during the day, as you all know. So while many of you have her direct email address, and she sort of even offered that, I would encourage you to at least copy Laura, so that just to help Kara make sure that she's able to
Point.
You're so nice, and I want to make sure. Got your back.
So it's pre-planning, development and construction, but it's a one-year grant. So if we're using it for pre-planning, for example, what's the sort of follow-up to that?
Well, the pre-planning would take place within the year combined, and then you have to...
You'd be on your own to
Yeah.
find the funding for the rest of it.
Mhm.
So the impact there is not terribly guaranteed.
I guess it would depend on the project. It would depend on what else is going on around the project.
You need to make it.
Yes.
Thank you.
And so right now, we are open in other funds that we had funded last year, the Wilson Fund. If you received funding last year, you can apply again this year. So in a pre-planning phase, if there was a second phase of construction, for example, you may be able to apply next year. We haven't determined the 2018 guidelines yet, but as of today, if you got a grant for youth sports last year, you are open to apply again to youth sports.
Really excited to see your letters of intent on January 1st or 20th. 20th. Starting January 3rd. I know I'll get several on January 3rd, but on January 20th at 4 p.m. I know I will have plenty to read. So looking forward to seeing everything that's going on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.